Oh putain. They finally did it, guys. Hooray! To say that this situation is a mess would be the understatement of the year. The "this is fine" dog is looking at this cluster F and laughing his butt off. But how did we even get here? Like, I remember the time when Unity was kinda respected in the community. People were using it left and right to develop some amazing game and some other LSD wet dream. To think that today they are as well regarded as Aikido or Game of Thrones Season 8, what a time to be alive! The thing is, this issue is quite personal to me, because I'm also an aspiring developer. Kinda. I used to code with Java. Please, bless your laugh and your mockeries here, thank you kindly, moving on now. I have a bachelor's degree in coding. Back then, I thought that if I learned how to code, I would become an amazing game developer, that I would travel to Japan and work for Nintendo. This was way before I knew how this industry really works and how Nintendo would simply take my soul, wipe its ass off with, and then force me to give them half of my money for the rest of my life. True story. Wait, what was I talking about again? Oh yeah, the death of Unity. Yeah, we can pretty much say at this point that the Unity engine is dead. Even if they reverse their decision, people won't ever be able to trust them again. They really went out thinking they could pull a Blizzard or Ubisoft on us without realizing that they had neither the money nor the fanboys. Everybody is here saying how this decision will destroy indie gaming, how they're a bunch of scammers, thieves, and greedy corporate overlords. At first, I wanted to do the same and add my little gust of friend to the shitstorm that is happening right now. But in the end, I think I will take the complete opposite direction. I think I will be the first one to try and make sense of Unity's board of direction decision. Please, hear me out first, hear me out. I am as pissed as the average person. I haven't felt such pain since the time Nintendo basically robbed me of my virginity 5 years ago when they decided to F me in the popotin by charging $20 for access to my own internet. As if my provider wasn't giving me the long bone already without my consent. What I try to do right now is to understand why a company like Unity, that was doing kinda okay before everything happened, decided to take this huge risk. And by huge risk, I mean huge dive without a parachute from the International Space Station, for no apparent reason. I did a lot of research, and when I said a lot, I really meant it. Like, I haven't read that much since I started to learn Java through its documentation. Just kidding, no one ever reads the documentation. And there is no such thing as a Java developer anyway. Please everyone, repeat after Jody. There are no Java developers in Ba Sing Se. Okay, this meaning is dead. So, here's a list of potential reasons as to why Unity decided to pull a universe cut on its community to become the next EA. Number 1, revenue generation. Also known as greed. The goal of a company is to make a profit. Everyone knows that. That's the leading factor behind every single decision that corporations make. So maybe they were hoping that charging developers per installation could be a way to increase their revenue without raising subscription fees or taking a larger cut of in-game purchases, at the cost of their reputation and credibility, of course. In short, they just wanted more money. That could honestly be a strong argument for the reason behind their decision. Except when we take into account one little tiny detail. You see, Unity was already very profitable before that whole debacle. And when I say profitable, I really mean profitable, to the point that it's freaking ridiculous. First of all, the video game industry is one of the most profitable entertainment sector in the world. That's already pretty great in itself, but Unity literally stands in the middle of it. I mean, think about it. It's one of the most popular games engine available. It's basically free, and a lot of renowned games have been made using it. They made a buttload of cash, even right now as I'm speaking. So, where's the problem then? Well, it comes down to what they are doing with their money. First, they recently wasted $1.6 billion to acquire Weta, merde. And to this day, I'm not sure if this purchase was really worth it. Then, they wasted $4.4 billion more with some shady deal with Iron Source, A company with a business model that's even more ineffective than Aikido and Taekwondo combined. And I can give so many more examples of plain bad businesses' decision on their part, but we'll be here all day really. I even consulted Unity's investor information, link in the description, and we can see that they have this kind of results. Like, how can you have those kinds of results when others are doing so great right now on the market? Okay, it isn't that bad, but come on, I mean, you're Unity, you're like the leader in the industry. You can do better, so much better. For some obscure reason, they just refuse to stick to their bread and butter and simply invest in the core business company and absolutely want to burn their pile of cash to stay warm during the winter. As a European peasant living with a worthless currency, I can see why. So, to summarize this part, they do have a lot of money. They're just really bad at managing it, just like the Ace family, or as I like to call them, the Con Ace family or Connasse family. You need to be a French speaker to understand this joke. Unity made a lot of money, spent it all away with some bad business decisions, and now they want to find new ways to get back what they lost. Simple, really. Number 2. Competitive landscape. The video game industry is very profitable, but also very competitive, like downright saturated. What I'm trying to explain here is that maybe they were looking for ways to differentiate themselves from the competition and increase their profitability. Maybe they saw this pricing model as a way to stand out or to better compete with other games engine providers. Again, this doesn't make any sense. Like I said earlier, they were already well renowned in the industry. There was no need to differentiate themselves. Just take a look at those numbers. Unity holds a significant, almost 30% market share in the game development industry, and face competition from 111 other tools in the same category. Notable alternatives include Discord, with like 23 almost market share on the market, and Unreal Engine with like 60%, and we can also mention Blender with almost 30%. So yeah, they're kind of well above the competition. So no need to be competitive in an industry where you're the one people need to compete against. But again, I don't know. Apple is already famous and profitable and they make those kinds of decisions all the time. Maybe it's a secret satanic ritual that corporations started practicing a long time ago to increase their revenue and they simply can't stop. Again, as someone who lives in a medieval European country, I can relate to the witchcraft stuff. Like, who doesn't hate when the nuns start randomly viewing and you have to turn and ask one of them?
Excuse me, Sister Gertrude, would you kindly cut the shit?
Sam, if you ever come... come. sorry. If you ever come across this video, know that I love you, man, and I'm really glad you're back. Number 3. Market trends. All of this is just an experiment, a test, a simulation, as some would say. More seriously, Unity may have decided to do this because they predicted that this would become the norm, the future, and they wanted to be the first to capitalize on that. Like that time when Microsoft started to charge money to play online, and everybody soon followed, even Nintendo. Years later, really Nintendo? I'm still salty about this Nintendo, I hope you know that. Nintendo? More like, Nintendo. Copy the competition. Okay, yeah, I'll see myself out for this one. Yeah, I deserve it. Okay, yeah, sure. The thing is, it's pretty obvious that they're setting a dangerous precedent with this. I won't be surprised if we start to see, I don't know, Unreal Engine or even Blender try to post something similar in the near future. Like, imagine them charging you to even access the website. Or even better. Imagine them turning into a pay-to-play model. Surely, no one is desperate enough to try something like this.
Oh, wait!
Number 4. Quality control. I'm sorry. Number 4. Quality control. I can't even say this seriously, I'm sorry. Okay. Let's try this again. Number 4. Quality control. Ah, putain, no way. Ah, come on. Okay, give me a minute. Just give me a sec. Number 4. Quality control. Okay, I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. Hear me out first. By introducing a cost per installation, Unity might aim to encourage developers to produce higher quality games? Yeah, because developers may then be more cautious about releasing low quality or spammy games if they must pay for each installation, right? Yeah, I really try, but this really is nonsense for me, like totally BS. Or as we say in my home country, du foutage de gueule. Quality was never the main focus of Unity. Their quality control was basically on par with Steam's, so moving on. Number 5. Testing the waters. Waters? Water? Waters? Shit, there's so many accents in the market, I don't know which one to copy. Yeah, sometimes companies try those dirty moves by introducing controversial policies to gauge the reaction of their user base and the market. They can then take notes of the backlash and adapt the strategy. They may or not modify or even reverse the policy based on the feedback and the consequences of the people, but I think they're pretty confident in their move this time. This happens quite a lot really, especially in the video game industry. We see those kinds of shitty moves being pulled left and right all the time. I really think that's the primary reason for doing this. From a business point of view, it's the move that makes more sense to me, but I could be wrong, really. I mean, after all, I'm just a poor European peasant from a tiny European kingdom that gets often identified as a French region. Thanks for that, Trump. But what this Belgian witch can teach you is that testing the waters is usually the best way to drag the competition into deep waters and drown your customers. Only time will tell, really. Hello guys, I hope it was informative in some sort for you guys. This video was really experimental. I'm still trying to learn the ropes and things like that. As you could tell, this was my first ever YouTube video. I'm still in the process of learning and understanding what I'm doing, so please be kind to me. Also, I hope that you could understand what I was trying to say because I have a really strong French accent. I mean, it's a Belgian accent, but we speak French in Belgium. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, I know that there's a lot of issues that I will try to fix in the future for this video. Like I said, I live in a medieval country. The technology isn't quite there yet. We just figured out that it wasn't acceptable to run a country without a government. Not that the president makes a real difference, really. This wasn't really my plan to become a YouTuber, but I wanted to cover this topic because I'm a developer. I mean, I used to be one, but I'm still coding in my free time. Anyway, I'm also a gamer, yeah. Let me put that gamer girl hat real quick. And I love indie games, especially indie games that were made with the Unity engine. And I'm really sad to see that it's even a possibility that they won't be available one day. The only good things coming out of this mess is that how this brought the community together, you know, against a single enemy. I'm really baffled because who would have thought, who would have imagined that Unity would be the one uniting us all. See you in the next one.